Yo, what's going on everyone? FreakyDude99 here, and the footage you're currently seeing is me and the Legend Heist going nutty with the Void Hunter. Now, everyone's been going crazy over Volatile Hunter with Gyrfalcons and Retrofit Escapade, and as you can see, yes, I am using them, and they are going absolutely crazy, tearing through any enemies we come across. But the true hidden gem that I don't think anyone has truly covered is Dead Messenger with this build. As you can see from the footage, this goes absolutely crazy. I don't know about you, but in the Legend Heist this week, it is nuts with the amount of enemies and the wizards out that just slay havoc. But as you can see with this build, we are shredding through everything, we're surviving, we're pumping out tons of damage. It is amazing, so let's just jump right into the subclass. Now, starting off with the subclass, we're rocking Mobius Quiver for the insane amounts of damage on it, the Orbs of Power, plus the fact it makes our targets volatile. We're going Marksman Dodge, so we get that automatic reload on our weapon. We're going Vortex Grenade for the long-lasting grenade, plus the great damage on it. For the first aspect, Stylus Executioner is the main crux of the build for the fact that defeating a weakened or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. That is very important for the fact we're rocking Gyrfalcons. Of course, we're doing Vanishing Step, so whenever we do a dodge, it makes us invisible. Moving on to the fragments, we're rocking Echo of Undermining, so our Void Grenade weakens targets. Of course, this also makes it so our Void Grenade turns us invisible, which is fantastic. We're rocking Echo of Persistence, which makes it so our invisibility, overshield, and devour have increased duration, which we are all taking advantage of. We're rocking Echo of Reprisal, so we get increased super energy whenever we get final blows surrounded by enemies. This is fantastic as I love using Mobius Quiver. And Echo of Starvation, whenever we pick up an Orb of Power, we get Devour, which makes us just survive so much longer. Now that cuts it for the subclass. Moving on to the weapons, I'm going to be rocking Disparity. You can be rocking any kind of pulse rifle in the kinetic slot because anti-barrier rounds is what you're going to be wanting for current content. As well as Disparity is just a really nice pulse rifle to have. Go check out my video on it if you haven't. Rapid Hit and Frenzy is a fantastic role in PvE. Now, the real special weapon of this build is Dead Messenger. Now, the great thing about Dead Messenger is 1, it can switch between all elements, which means you can clear any shield. 2, it's a wave frame, and wave frames are fan-freaking-tastic. And 3, I highly recommend you pick up the Catalyst because it grants you turnabout, which makes it so whenever you destroy a shield with this weapon, you get an overshield, which we are always destroying shields in endgame content. Now, Dead Messenger really goes hard with the volatile rounds as well. As you can see, we clear out waves of enemies with no worries whatsoever. Heist on Legend difficulty turns into a joke with this build. And then finally, we're rocking Retrofit Escapade with 4th times the charm and target lock. Of course, this is a fantastic roll. Go and get a roll of this or get the crafted version because it is wonderful to have. Of course, throwing the weaken on a target, getting volatile rounds going, and then using this weapon to laser a boss down. You can see the damage just melts enemies like no business. Now that's going to cut it for the weapons. Moving on to the armor. For the helmet, we're rocking Solar Energy, so we can use Explosive Wellmaker, as well as Harmonic Siphon and a Machine Gun Ammo Finder for more ammo on our Retrofit Escapade, because that is a real nice weapon to have ammo on in endgame content. On the gauntlets, we're using Void Energy, so we can take the low energy mod Well of Tenacity, and then we can use the 2 seasonal mods Anti-Barrier Pulse Rifle and Unstoppable Grenade Launcher for whatever kind of content we need to take on. Now for the chest piece, we are using Gyrfalcons Hauberk. Of course, this is an amazing exotic for hunters. which makes it so whenever we come out of invisibility, we get volatile rounds. So that means whenever we come out of our dodge, whenever we use our grenade, and then whenever we kill enemies with volatile rounds, we are going invisible and then coming out of invisibility and refreshing our volatile rounds. It basically makes it so we never run out of volatile rounds as long as we have ammo in our weapons. As well as whenever we finish our target while we're invisible, we gain increased damage for all of our weapons. We also get a reserve overshield that activates on class ability use, and increased class ability regeneration so we can activate that overshield. Now for the energy, we're using Void, so we can use the amazing Reaping Wellmaker. This makes it so whenever we do a dodge and then kill an enemy with a weapon, we spawn a Void Elemental Well. And then we are also using Energy Diffusion Substrate times 2. Now, this was actually fixed and was bugged to not work properly up to times 3. Now that it's actually working, this is a fantastic mod to use, as we are facing so many different types of elemental damage in this recent season. I don't know about you, but the recent Legend Heist has just been brutal, because you not only have Void, Arc, and Solar damage, but you also have those poison circles from the wizards, and just the cursed thralls that explode. It is just mayhem in there. So Energy Diffusion Substrate is a fantastic mod to double stack now. Now for the legs, of course we're using Stasis Energy so we can take advantage of Elemental Time Dilation. This is going to make it so our Well of Tenacity as well as Well of Life are going to last longer. We're also using Absolution, so whenever we pick up an Orb of Power, our ability cooldowns go down. And then finally for the Cloak, we're rocking Solar Energy so we can take advantage of Well of Life. Whenever we pick up that Solar Well we're spawning, we're getting healing. And then we're also using Bomber, so whenever we do our dodge, we're getting Grenade cooldown reduced. And then for our final one, we're using Monochromatic Maestro. Now, I already kind of did an explanation, but the brief version is, even on a grenade launcher focused build, we do not care about weakening targets because we already can weaken targets with our super and our grenade, which we have all the time pretty much. Monochromatic Maestro is just way better in my opinion. Of course, if you are doing solo content, use Solo Operative. Other than that, use this mod because any piece of content you are doing, you are just going to fly through because that damage bonus is pretty much always up. Always up. Now, of course, with any build for our stats, we are focusing resilience and discipline, with mobility and strength being kind of on the side, and recovery being second to last. Intellect, we do not care about. With this build, of course, any endgame content you are doing, you pretty much want 100 resilience. Well of Tenacity helps out a ton, and same with Well of Healing. Both are fantastic for hunters as they are squishier than, my boys the Titans. But with this build, as you can see, we barely go down. Of course, throughout my heist runs, I don't go flawless, but I pretty much never go down, as you pretty much always have an overshield because of Dead Messenger. You're always weakening targets with your melee, with your grenade, with your super. Your super comes up super fast because Dead Messenger mixed with volatile rounds. Also with Echo of Reprisal just makes it so your super comes back so quickly. Some heist runs, I'm just popping my super over and over and over and over again. It's ridiculous. Retrofit Escapade is a fantastic heavy to use, but of course, other pieces of content might require you to change that up, so, play around a bit depending on you. Of course, if you're looking for a substitute for Dead Messenger because 1, you either don't have it or don't have the catalyst, or 2, just don't want to use that exotic, I would highly recommend Deafening Whisper, but that is only for people that actually played during Season of the Hunt. For everyone else, you can go and grab the brand new Wilderflight, which is a fantastic void grenade launcher. It works very nicely with volatile rounds, and you'd be surprised at the damage output it can do. Now, the main flow of this build is pretty much spamming Dead Messenger. When you have volatile rounds racked up with Dead Messenger, the damage just goes insane. So of course, when entering into combat, do your dodge, kill an enemy, spawn both a solar well and a void well, pick those up, and then just go to town. Of course, whenever you're entering into like a boss damage, super the enemy, and then pull out Retrofit Escapade and just go ham with the void explosions. Other than that, this has been a fantastic build that I've been running for the past while. Void Hunter goes absolutely insane this season, and I'd highly recommend any of you to go onto Hunter, grab Gyrfalcons Hauberk, and go absolutely crazy with Dead Messenger and Retrofit Escapade. This season has been a lot of fun so far, and this build just decimates pretty much any piece of content you run into. So happy hunting, everyone. We'll see you in the next video, and have a good evening. Peace out.